Hey, vinyl community, it's Jason. It's Thursday night. Wanted to do actually an entry video for entry for a contest. Last video I did, gentleman Steve Carlson, he commented and subbed my channel, so I checked him out, and he just happened to so be doing a contest. I'm new to his channel. He's got a lot of energy. From what I saw, it was a real fun video. A lot of, he was just kind of wild, and it was very relaxed and fun to watch. Not serious at all. I loved it. It's almost like on the verge of comedy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out some of his future videos. He does a lot of videos, a few a week. So it'll be fun to catch up on those. So the contest entry was show five records that make you happy and tell you why. The reason I want to do it, I was debating, but then I just started thinking about memories of just stuff. And there's a lot of I started kind of thinking about really good memories in music for me, and try to work my way backwards. So there's a lot of stuff that really good memories. I don't have any vinyl, or like I have CDs, but probably I didn't keep the covers and stuff. So, but there's so many good memories, and honestly, a lot of them are probably show related. So I try to do stuff that's not so much the show was epic. I mean, a lot of these are kind of types of shows, because I do see a lot of shows. But yeah, I just thinking. I mean, I have so many good records where I just listen to it, and it just makes me think of sometime in the past. It's just when I listen to it, I always think about the time when I first heard it, or some special moment in my life when I was listening to that. So it was 5, so I got 5 here. I'm gonna go through them. First things first. Listening to I just got this in the mail yesterday. DJ Tudo, Nos Quintas do Mundo, and so this one, this is a DJ from Brazil. I put this on my want list. This is not part of the contest. I put this on my want list. It came up on eBay for cheap. No one bid. I bought it. I don't even really remembered it. So I just got this. I wanted to listen to it. Tried to throw it on yesterday. My wife wasn't really feeling it, so I had to throw something else on. My son kind of turned into a 3-year-old son. I don't know how, but he's like a music dictator at this point. So I tried to throw it on today, and he loves Beach House and he loves Georgia Bain, so he wanted nothing to do with this. He wanted to listen to Georgia Bain. So I'm finally getting to listen to it. This is a good reason, good excuse, so I'm listening to this. It's kind of like, it's a DJ, but it's kind of more of that, as you can hear, like traditional Brazilian with like kind of like samba style with beats. I did listen to a couple songs yesterday before I took it off. And it's got some rap on it and stuff too, so it's kind of cool. But so listen to this. My first record I wanted to show was Bob Marley Uprising. This one, there's a couple reasons why this makes me happy. I mean, it's Bob Marley, obviously. You can't go wrong throwing on Bob Marley, but a lot of these are kind of related to. Not some of them. So this one was related to kind of college. But I used to, when I was in college, it was like early 2000s. It was kind of when people were downloading music on Napster. I remember having like a Win player, I think it was called, where you just have like all your songs on it. And I remember going to a party specifically in San Diego. One of my roommates, my friends from back home, we went down there. And I knew Bob Marley, but I just kind of knew the traditional. I don't know, I wasn't like super into it. I liked this stuff, but then I heard Could You Be Loved on this guy's computer at the party, and it just kind of clicked, and I was like blown away. So that was kind of my first introduction to really liking Bob Marley. And another reason why, the real reason why it's super special is, so my senior year in college, so it must have been pretty soon after I kind of started discovering a lot of new music on Napster and stuff. Like right after I discovered this, my best friend, his parents went back to Europe for like 2 months. He was living at their house, and so basically he had the house to himself, and it was his house was pretty close to where I lived in where we went to college. It was like a 15-minute drive. So basically, we just set up like a drum kit and a mic and turntables and a guitar and bass and amp, and all just sat in his living room for like 2 months straight. And his birthday is in January, late July. So he got the turntables from a friend that he went to, grew up and kind of went to church with and stuff. Like a guy who used to DJ in the back when he was a little older than us, so he used to DJ like in the 80s, like high school parties and stuff. So we got the turntables, so I went and bought him 2 records. One of them was Bob Marley, Uprising, and the other one was Diggable Planets, Blowout Cone. I remember, and then he inherited the records from his friend, and his dad had some records. So we just played music all the time, played records every day. We woke up, I'd crash at his house probably 5-6 days a week. We would just hang out, drink. We eat breakfast, throw on some records, and that was kind of my first introduction to really listening to records on a consistent basis. Because my dad had records, but didn't really listen to them that much. So every time I listen to this, especially "Could You Be Loved," it's still probably, it's gotta be, I don't know, it might be my favorite Bob Marley track. It's at least one of my favorite Bob Marley tracks. So that's why this is special. Every time I hear it, I love it. And another plug is my friend. He's an artist. I showed one of his paintings in a different video I had. So this one is this is my friend painted this. This is a reprint though. He has one original he did a little bit bigger than this actually, and he did two reprints. So one and me and my other buddies have it. So super stoked to have this. This hangs up in my living room. So I wanted to show that in the background, switch it up. Also, he does t-shirts. So I don't know if you can see this, but this is actually Robert Plant. Another good memory is when I went to Brazil. He came to Brazil with me one time, and he brought these. So he did Led Zeppelin, all 4 of the band members. So he did a Robert Plant shirt, a John Bonham, John Paul Jones, and Jimmy Page. And his goal was to give them out to special people he met when he was in Brazil. So I can't remember exactly what shirt it was, but I do remember going to this island with him called Ilha Grande down in Brazil, which is in between Rio and Sao Paulo, off the coast of Angra. And he did give one to the guy who owned the bar there, because we were talking. He was actually wearing a shirt, and I think he actually gave him the shirt off of his back. I'm pretty sure. My friend took his shirt. I mean, it was a beach city, so you could walk around with no shirt on. We were in the bar, we were talking, the guy threw on a Led Zeppelin video, and my friend I think it was John, I'm pretty sure it was John Bonham, gave him the shirt. So I didn't even realize I was wearing this, but I kind of, when I started making the video, I realized I was wearing this, and that also, wearing this brings back that memory. So yeah, that's my first record. The second record is Paul Simon's self-titled. Paul Simon is my favorite artist. He is, I think he's incredible. I think he has the whole package. He's a songwriter. He's an incredible songwriter. I mean, he wrote all the Simon and Garfunkel stuff. He's got an incredible voice. He's an amazing guitar player. He's innovative. I mean, he was doing Graceland, and he was doing Rhythm of the Saints, like just doing stuff in different, kind of switching it up. When he's doing the stuff in different countries, kind of different sounds. So every time I listen to this, I don't know, this is the first record that I listened to and I was like, damn, this thing is a masterpiece, I think, start to finish. And I don't know if I mentioned lyrically too, that another reason why I really, really enjoy him is his lyrics. And there's one song, specifically Duncan, which is the second song, which I'm trying to find the lyrics. So this is the lyrics. He's basically talking about losing his virginity. Just later on the very same night, when I crept to her tent with a flashlight, and my long years of innocence ended. Well, she took me to the woods, saying, "Here comes something, and it feels so good." And just like a dog, I was befriended. So for me, Bob Marley, Paul Simon, he's kind of has like an innocent look. He's kind of, he just looks almost like a little kid, and his lyrics are so provocative in such a kind of mysterious way. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but so when I did see Paul Simon once, saw him one time, Pacific Amphitheater, and he played Duncan, which is a really quiet song, and he sang that part. And I remember I was sitting next to the same friend that I talked about earlier. I was right next to his parents, and he'd sing that line, and I just like screamed at the top of my lungs, and it was like dead silent, and like everyone around me just like looked at me, and my friend's parents were like super embarrassed. But that is probably my favorite verse, maybe ever. So every time I listen to that, I think of that concert. I think of just listening to Paul Simon and discovering him in college. I know a few of his songs on guitar, so every time I listen to that, it makes me extremely happy. So this is the third one. This is Little Dragon Season High. This is kind of a newer record. I think it came out a couple years ago. I love Little Dragon. This is probably like the 5th album, I want to say. And I mean, I really like the album anyway. It's more it's got a little bit more of electric feel to it, electro. But I just saw these guys. I live in Southern California, and if you're pretty big on going to concerts in like the greater LA area, there is a venue called Pappy and Harriet's, which is in the desert, which is about an hour east of the city of Los Angeles, and it's maybe like 20 minutes before you get to Coachella Valley, before they have the Coachella Festival. There's just a highway that goes up about 15 miles. You turn off, on the way to Coachella, you turn off and you go up this highway for about 15 miles. And off that, you take a left, and it's like 6 miles into the desert, and you end up at this place called Pioneer Town, which is, I think it was an old Western town built for like a movie set. So it's just got that old Western feel to it, and they have this venue there called Pappy and Harriet's. There's a handful of people. There's probably, I want to say there's maybe 20, maybe 30 houses there, and they're very sparse. So I went to see them, and these guys, I've only seen Little Dragon at big festivals, and I mean, they're great, but I'm always like super far. I did see them at a show not too far from here, but still, I mean, I don't know, there was a lot of people. This venue holds 200 people. Paul McCartney played here, a free show. I don't know if it was free. I think it was free. A few years ago, it was just like huge line to get in. Like probably 80% of the people that went to go see it didn't get in. It only holds 200 people. So these sold out in like a couple minutes. I got one on pre-sale, super excited. I went and saw them. I was in the back, but there was like maybe 30 feet from the stage. So I'm like, from here to the end of my wall, it was just incredible. You're just like, and in the way that the venue's set up, there's kind of a restaurant, and it has a low ceiling, and then you step into like where the stage, and then the ceiling raises up, so you're kind of, behind you is like a lower ceiling, so you're kind of in this just like space where the sound just kind of sits in there, and it was incredible. It blew my mind. Definitely one of the best shows I ever saw. And then after we're out in the desert, I mean, and we stuck around. We waited outside. I brought the record. I'm trying to get it signed to a small venue, and kind of everyone just disappeared. And then I went with some of my wife's friends, and one of them brought her husband. And he's like, well, let's go try to find them. So he went and asked the roadie, or the guy who's packing up their stuff. He said, hey, where are they? Can I get something signed? And he's like, oh, they're in this back house back here. So we just charged back there, and the guy, my friend's husband, just talks his way in, and all of a sudden I'm inside there with my wife and my wife's friend's husband, and it's just us three, and they're having this little, like, there's probably 15 people back there, and they were playing records, and it wasn't like a party. They weren't crazy. They were drinking water. I think they had a show the next day, but we're out in the middle of nowhere, this desert, and just chatting it up with the guitar player. They're from Sweden. They were super humble, super nice. I talked to the guitar player for a while, and I brought this another vinyl, and he was tripping out. He was looking at it, because it's like, the other one has actually pictures of their parents, like wedding video photos. So he was like, oh my god, these are my parents, and like, I don't know, it was so awesome. So then he ended up signing it, and then we ended up talking to the lead singer, who's just absolutely incredible. And she was super humble, super nice, very like soft-spoken. And so she also signed it, and then I didn't want to overstay my welcome, so we kind of bounced out after that. But it was just a surreal experience, seeing someone I look up to so much in and they were just so. I mean, I've met a few artists to get, like, try to get records signed and stuff, and like it's about 50-50. Some of them are super cool, super chill, will chat you up. Other kind of just like blow you off. But these guys were probably the best people I've met, like the nicest. And then after, we're out in the middle of the desert. There's no light pollution, and it's just a million stars. And then we just went back to the place we were staying and just danced up for like a couple more hours, just drinking, having a great time. It was one of the best shows, definitely memorable. Every time I listen to this, because they played most of this album, every time I listen to this, it makes me super happy. So the fourth one is Radiohead in Rainbows. I mean, everyone knows Radiohead. I introduced to Radiohead. I was lucky enough to have a friend in high school who was pretty musically inclined. He played guitar. He liked a lot of good music, and he told me, hey, listen to OK Computer. I listened to it, and he was like, and then I listened to it, and I don't get it. I told him I don't really get it. He's like, okay, well, I'll take it then. I'll give it to me. I'll keep it. And I was like, well, let me check it out again. I listened, and it just blew me away. Ever since then, I was a huge Radiohead fan. This is one of their later albums. This one came out, I want to say, like 08, maybe 06. It's probably like 10 plus years into their career. And I know Tom York kind of did most of this stuff, wrote most of these tracks on his like just personal computer at home. But why this one means so much, and I mean, it's an amazing album, but I always like pulling teeth to get my wife, like, I was like, yeah, you should listen to Radiohead, you really like Radiohead. And she just never was a big fan, and then finally I threw on this album. She's like, "Oh, this is really good." So this album is the one that kind of my wife. It was a good introduction to her, where she really clicked with Radiohead. And so soon after, we traveled to Europe, and we were trying to decide where to go to Europe, and like, well, let's go to a music festival. Like, we're in Europe for, I think it was 20 days, maybe a little less. So we're like, let's go find a music festival. Let's go to a music fest. So we found one where Radiohead was playing, and it was in Portugal. And this is the only festival I've ever been to outside of the United States. Probably outside of California, maybe. No, I went to a couple in New York, but nothing in Europe. And we went, and we were in the very back when Radiohead played, like so far back. This huge festival, and we were like, dancing to Radiohead, which seems, it's not really danceable music, but like some of their stuff's got some good beats to it. But and they played the whole album basically, and my wife was just going nuts. I was going nuts. We were with her best friend from where she grew up, and her boyfriend, and we were just all four of us. Just there was no one around us because we were in the very back, so we had all this space. And it's one of the best shows of my life, guaranteed. So that's why every time I listen to this, I think of that. And plus, I throw it on. My wife's like super happy. She loves this album as well, so that this always brings back good memories. So this is the last album. This is my fifth album. This is Phoenix, Wolfgang Amadeus. This one was kind of, this was pretty popular back in, I want to say 2012-ish. I saw these guys a few times at some festivals, like Coachella. I think I saw them up in San Francisco. But why this means a lot is because when I met my wife is Brazilian, so when we were first together, because she actually met me when she was here doing like work experience, and we met and we got married, and she never left, so she kind of left behind everything in Brazil for me. So when we were first together, we got married pretty quick, but those first 5 or 6 years of our marriage, she would go back to Brazil a lot for like at least 2 months a year. When she was finishing school here, she would go back like every summer. So I couldn't go for 2 months. I'd go for like 2 weeks because I was working. And so I would always meet her there. She'd always go before. I would go and I would meet her. And so I would always bring like an album or two with me, that we would listen to when we were in Brazil. So we used to go, when I go to Brazil, I mean, I don't anymore. Now we have our kid, but when we used to go to Brazil, we used to party all night. Like every other day we'd party until the sun came up. I mean, I went there New Year's Eve a couple times, Carnival, just insane fun parties, and I have lots of good memories. I had a destination wedding there with like 25 of my friends. Just all my memory. I've been to Brazil 6 or 7 times, and all my memories are just incredible. But musically, the one thing that sticks out is listening to Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix, this album, specifically the song Fences, driving home at 3 in the morning, and we were staying at this house which is up over this crazy hill, which is like super gnarly. Like buses can't go up it because it's just like this sharp like 90-degree turn. So it is super steep. It's like 45 degrees at least. And my wife would usually drive in Brazil, because I don't know if you guys have ever traveled to Latin America and tried to drive there, but it's pretty intense. And so she grew up there, so she was used to it, and so she would always drive. And I remember driving home at 3 in the morning, going up this gnarly hill, and we listened to this album a lot. Like, we'd probably play this album, play something else, play this album, play a different one, play this album. We were playing this a lot. And just driving up over that hill and Fences just blasting, and just we were both windows down because it's hot in Brazil, in Rio where she's from, and just singing at 3 in the morning Fences. And it's just, this always sticks out for me. I mean, I brought a few albums there, but yeah, this one really stuck with me. Every time I listen to it, Fences for sure. That's my track. So yeah, so those are the 5 albums that when I listen to, I just think, just bring back, when Steve said bring back something that makes you, or play some records that make you happy, the thing I thought of is, I mean, I get a lot of albums where I'm super stoked, I get it, but it just doesn't have that lasting effect where every time you hear it, that's what the good thing about music, it kind of triggers those moments of when you remember listening to it, something that really sticks out. So thanks for doing this contest, and I appreciate it. I know there was a second part, I can't quite remember what it was. I think it was why music makes you happy, and it just, it just brings out the endorphins, and it can make you sad, it can make you happy. I remember running around, a few times running around my house. You get friendships where you and this person is just both love this album and can sing the whole thing, and I have good memories of just singing, staying up till 4 in the morning with this one person, just playing this album by ourselves on the dance floor of my house with everyone asleep and just screaming at the top of our lungs. So that's why I enjoy music, and these are ones that really mean a lot to me. So just want to do that video. So yeah, thank you.